today? Good. Isn't it gorgeous outside? I was so excited. That's great. I was afraid it was going to rain, but we're all good. My name is Danielle Small. I'm a certified aromatherapist, owner of Naturally Simplified, and today we're going to do Toxins 101, how to rid your household of toxic chemicals quickly and easily. Over the course of a year, I found it difficult to pick out what was good, what was bad. Couldn't read the ingredients. Things just didn't make sense, and so I came up with a quick way for myself, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. First, we'll go over all the information that we do discuss today is for informational purposes only. It's not intended to be medical advice. Always use essential oils and herbs with caution and keep them out of reach of children. Use extreme caution with pregnant and or nursing. Always check and see if oils and herbs are going to have any type of side effects with medications that you are already on. That's extremely important because it does happen a lot. This presentation has not been evaluated by the FDA. No information or products available are intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any diseases. All the information and products are available to help support our body's natural healing process, maintaining an already healthy system that is functioning within normal range. I'll just keep right there. I've always had super sensitive skin. It would be dry, itchy, chafed at the seams right here in my clothes. That's what originally had me started on this venture, to find something that not only worked but also decreased the toxins in my body. I was having trouble with that. One of my favorite body butters, once I started working at a local fiberglass company, just really wasn't helping at all. I was constantly putting it all over my body. It just wasn't working well. And so that's what put me on, the pursuit to find something that was going to work. I was going through social media one day, and one of my friends had posted on there that so often we forget that our skin is the largest organ in our body. And that at that moment, a light bulb went on, and it made me start to realize I had already started looking at food labels, but I really needed to look at the labels on the body products that I was using, because filled with all those chemicals, I'm putting them on my skin, and they're going directly into my bloodstream. And another thing, when I started to think of the body products I was using, then I also thought to myself, well, what about the chemicals in the cleaners that I'm using? Because we all know those are probably worse. Well, I thought that they were worse than what I was putting on my body. So the first thing that we will actually go over today are the cleaning products and our daily cleaning products today. So think of the last thing that you cleaned, and did you use your hands? And if you used your hands, did you wear gloves? Well, if you didn't, then that cleaning product was on your hands, absorbed into your bloodstream, and therefore any of the toxic chemicals that were in that have now entered into your bloodstream. Most of the information that I'll give you about the household cleaning products are from the International Sanitary and Supply Association's General Guide to Chemical Cleaning. The manual is full of information. It is broken down into subcategories. I actually found it very easy to read, and I have pamphlets up front. If you did grab one on your way in, I believe on the back side of it, it has all of the websites that I'll go over. You can easily get on there. There's actually some of them you can sign up to have things emailed to you. So if you are really into finding out new things about the products, what's good, what's bad, they actually will send you automatic updates to their own websites. The first one that we will look at today are disinfectant and antimicrobials. That does not include hand sanitizers. We'll get to that in a minute. That is regulated by the EPA. And the EPA regulates any pest control items which include harmful bacteria. In short, as long as their label tells you that it's harmful if swallowed or it may cause eye irritation, as long as they have that little thing or maybe one of these symbols that you can see up on the screen, then anything harmful or any side effect that happens to you that falls on you. You should have used it properly is basically what they're going to say. For food contact surfaces, that's regulated by the USDA. I just found that this piece right here was a little bit crazy. It's quoted, critical control points must be established. Under those, food contact surfaces are required to be cleaned and sanitized. Now, it also says as frequently as necessary. There are no regulations that say every time they touch a food and it touches the table that they have to clean it. Furthermore, the sanitizers and the cleaners that they use can be third-party certified or just have a letter of guarantee. So there's no regulation on the chemicals that they're using, toxic or non-toxic, to clean up the food product, and then there's no regulation on how often they need to clean those. We'll head into everybody's favorite, which seems to be the antibacterial hand sanitizers and soaps. The big talk about the antibacterial is triclosan, and triclosan is an endocrine system disruptor. It's harmful to our immune system. It increases testosterone, and in animal studies has also been known to reduce muscle strength. The FDA has banned the use of triclosan, but what they don't tell us is that they've banned the use of triclosan in products that require you to use water with them. So these gels or anything that may be the regular pump hand sanitizer can legally have triclosan in it. What I have found is because it has gotten so much hype is that most of the companies are actually taking it out anyway, which is a great thing. But the regulation does not require them to, because as you can see, the Germ-X, and if you've ever used it before, you don't need water with it. You just pump it on your hands, rub them together, and go. So technically, they are within legal, I don't know what word I'm looking for.
Guidelines.
Government guidelines, thank you. They are within government guidelines and they can use that. Now, up here I have a quote from FDA. I'll just go ahead and read it. Consumers may think that antibacterial washes are more effective at preventing the spread of germs, but we have no scientific evidence that they are any better than plain soap and water. And as you can see, that is from the FDA Center for Drug Evaluation and Research Director. She says, in fact, some data suggests that antibacterial ingredients may do more harm than good over the long term. I took that directly from the FDA's website. You can actually log on and look at that, and it's right there. I thought that was a pretty crucial piece of information. It says right there that pretty much it's better just to wash with regular soap and water. Consumer cleaning products. We have labeling requirements for products that contain hazardous substances that may cause substantial injury or illness. So if they have anything labeled or any type of information that says that it can be extremely dangerous to us, then they have to put one of these labels on it. Danger, warning, caution. We've seen the crossbones. We've seen the sign that says poison on it. Under those guidelines, there are a few products that they do not have to have any of the labeling requirements. Why? I don't know, but those are polishing and spot removing kits. So your spot removing carpet cleaner, for whatever reason, they don't fall within the guidelines and they do not have to tell us that they're dangerous. All the other requirements were extremely vague also, leaving the accountability and most of the issues that could arise if it's improperly used. Again, that's in the hands of the consumer. So if by accident you get it in your eyes and you go blind, well, that's your fault. You got it into your eyes, even though the product itself should have said that it could cause eye injury, but it falls within the guidelines and they didn't have to. This was an interesting fact when I found for the consumer cleaning products. Next one here. The Department of Transportation. So if you see the consumer commodities picture right there, it's a bunch of different products, but pretend that those are bottles of the same product. So those do not have any regulations on traveling from packaging place to shelf. Nobody says that this truck or the bottles or anything need to be marked as hazardous material. Why? Because they're in individual spots. Now, if those same chemicals were put into the barrels, because it's a larger amount, a larger volume of them in one barrel, then it does. And I thought that was kind of interesting and strange, because what's the difference? The volume of the liquid is the same, it's just they're in different bottles. But there are no regulations because it's considered a consumer commodity. Dr. Annie Pryor, again, her website is on the back of the pamphlet. She is graduated from Ohio State University. She's a biochemist. She decided to stop working and stay at home with her children. And one of the things that she does is test different household cleaners against others. What she has found is that 3% hydrogen peroxide that you can buy off of the shelf from Meijer, Walmart, wherever you do your shopping is, I don't want to say 100% better, but most of the time it just blows any of the other cleaners that you would think of out of the water. I'm not sure if you can read it, if you can see. She tests these, so she has the hydrogen peroxide, it's dirty hydrogen peroxide, and then I don't even know what the last one says, but on the second one closest it says Lysol Spray. And these are Petri dishes. I'll just this way. So right here she has her 3% hydrogen peroxide. You see that? That's my. Right here is the 3% hydrogen peroxide that she used in her test. This is Lysol Spray. So you can see that this has little to no bacteria forming on it, but this one here does. So 70% alcohol, 91. Pure white vinegar. Method. I don't know if anybody's used the Method, which seems really nice. It is a natural product, smells great. It really does clean my countertops well, but you know, if I could get over the smell of the 3% peroxide, I think I might decide to go with that. And then this is Thieves Spray. Now, Thieves Spray here is already a pre-made. It's not something that she made at home where she could control the concentration of the Thieves oil in it. She actually does do another study with Thieves oil that she diluted herself. So she has super extensive studies. I mean, just gobs and gobs and gobs of information. I've actually just scrolled down through and taken a look at her Petri dishes for some of them. She's big on flu, viruses, and things of that nature, how to control and what to clean with. I highly recommend that you check her out. She also subcategories her website so that if you're looking for something in particular, you can find it there. In short, like I said, if I could get over the smell of hydrogen peroxide, I'd probably use that myself. I do have a couple of friends that said that they put some lemon essential oil inside of that, and it seems to work okay with them. I had another girl that works in a veterinary clinic, and she said it did not surprise her that I mentioned this because that is what they use to clean their entire center there. Another thing that I use is I have my own mix that has a little bit of white vinegar, a little bit of hydrogen peroxide, and some essential oils, so it smells great and it really cleans really well. A couple of things that you would expect to see from Dr. Annie's website is she prefers using paper towels for anything that's going to be highly contaminated with bacteria. You know, vomit, feces, meat, to clean up meat counters, because she feels that when you clean it up, you wipe it up with the paper towel and you throw it away. You don't have to worry about that contaminating any of your laundry. Now, she does also use Norwex in what is called an e-cloth, which I guess is similar to the Norwex. She says that is great for everyday use, but again, if you're going to use it to clean up meat or anything heavy in bacteria, then you want to make sure that you put that in the proper laundry basket, probably by itself, but also it's not to be cleaned regularly. We're not just supposed to throw that in the laundry and wash it with our regular clothes and towels. It should be boiled. And I didn't know that. That was something that I learned. Yes. She says washing them properly in hot water is necessarily, boiling is preferred.
They also have a detergent special for those cloths.
Okay, great. So I imagine that with your washer on hot is probably where she was headed with that one. And then I went over the obviously we can see the H2O2 was better than Lysol. Okay, so now we're going to head on to body care products. It is estimated that women put over 500 toxic chemicals on their body within the first 2 hours of being awake every day. Yeah. We kind of cringe, like, you know, and you think about that, that's taking your shower, using hairspray, or your makeup and everything on top of your lotions, all of that nature. Unfortunately, body care products, the labeling system required is even more vague than what we just went over with our cleaning products. And that's really sad, but that's the way it is. To date, the United States has banned the use of 11 ingredients from being used in cosmetic body care. I thought, wow, just 11? That seems kind of crazy. Well, yeah, it is kind of crazy. Because when you compare it to over 1,300 ingredients banned by Europe and 650 by Canada, you can see that USA is kind of tiny down there. But now, in my readings, I thought, well, you know, what kind of chemicals are they putting on there? You know, what makes their list up? And I had someone that was saying, well, that's not fair because Europe puts all these crazy ingredients that are not allowed, and it's just common sense that those wouldn't be in there. Well, then I got to the list of what was actually on the 11 of USA, and I thought, well, if it's just obvious, then why are chloroform and mercury two of the 11 that are on the USA list? Yeah, seems like we shouldn't have to tell people and tell companies that we don't need those in there. So I really believe that the USA should probably up it and start banning some more ingredients there. The FDA regulation, they are the ones that regulate our body care products, and they say products intended to cleanse or beautify are generally regulated as cosmetics. Some examples are skin moisturizers, perfumes, lipsticks, fingernail polishes, makeup shampoos, permanent waves, hair colors, toothpaste, and deodorants. The products and their ingredients are not subject to FDA pre-market approval, and except for color additives other than coal tar hair dyes. And I apologize, I cannot remember the reasoning behind the dyes, why they do regulate the dyes a little bit more than they do the other items, other ingredients in there. The cosmetic companies have legal responsibility for the safety of their products and their ingredients, which is this one here. No laws are in place requiring those cosmetic companies to share any of that information with the FDA. So although the FDA says you need to make sure that your products are safe and you need to make sure that the ingredients are safe and they aren't going to cause any harm to people, they actually don't make them talk back and forth. So if you were to have an issue with a product that you use and you call the company and you say, I have a breakout for it, and they catalog that, none of that information makes it to the FDA. Therefore, the FDA doesn't know that that could be an unsafe ingredient, or if there are multiple people having the same issue, they may say under a certain amount of people, it's just those people having sensitive skin, as opposed to maybe we need to look into this ingredient in here and take it out of our product. Laws are not required to regulate the use of words natural and organic on cosmetics and personal care products, only the use of the symbols. This is a problem that I run into quite often using all-natural, organic, and wild-crafted ingredients myself in products. Unfortunately, because of not having any regulation in it, there has been kind of like a pushback from people. You know, they see the symbol and they don't believe that that's what it is because the regulation of it. Now, the words all natural, organic, 100% all natural, made with and derived from, anybody can put that on their product. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's no regulation that says nobody's going to come knocking on my door and say, hey, is that really what's in it? Because it doesn't get regulated. Now, if I use these symbols here, the USDA organic or the 100%, which isn't listed there, then that is regulated. But what we don't understand too, and this is where it gets a little bit confusing, is that the 100% organic, in order to use that, I believe it has to be at least 95%. 95% organic allows you to have the 100% label. And then the 95% or more ingredient there is also, oh, I saw it, the seal is optional, I'm sorry. Then the 95% or more, you can still use it. And then when you get made with organic ingredients, it has to be at least 70%. So the rest of it, the other 30% can be whatever they want, but they can still use the made with organic ingredients. And then less than organic ingredients, and it should just be denoted in there of what ingredients are and what aren't. The ingredients in finished cosmetics are safe vendor labeled and customary conditions, meaning it's a full responsibility of the consumer to be sure the product is used only specified in the proper amounts. The example that I used for this one, as far as being safe under the label and usage is, okay, so if I had a lip balm or a lipstick and just wearing it every day wasn't going to be toxic because for whatever reason they say everyday usage isn't toxic enough for your body, but let's just say a 2-year-old got into it and ate it and became sick. Well, that's improper usage of it and that's my fault. Which I understand it probably is a little bit my fault, but then why are there toxic ingredients in there because they ate this little bit of balm making the kids sick? To me, it should be the other way around. Why is there something in it that's going to make somebody sick? The product has to be properly labeled with all the ingredients used, toxic or non, which like I said, under the less than 70%, as long as it says, yes, it's toxic, or it doesn't have a little asterisk beside it to say that it's organic, then it's okay to put it in your product. Neither law nor FDA regulates specific testing to demonstrate the safety of ingredients used. So again, the FDA and the cosmetic and body care product companies, they don't talk to each other. If something were to show up that it may be unsafe, that's not regulated there. They don't have to say anything. They don't have to do special testing of any of the products that they put in, or any of the ingredients they put in any of their products. And once again, I'm kind of a broken record on this one. The law does not require cosmetic companies to share the safety info with the FDA. So then we get to some of the ingredients here. The toxic ingredients, not yet banned, not yet banned by the United States. These are ones that are not yet banned. So, formaldehyde resin that can be used in your body care products. Triclosan, which we spoke of earlier, that can be as long as it's not used with water. Oxybenzone, which is used in sunscreen products, is still able to be used. The 1,4-dioxane, a popular one is the parabens, which I had thought with all the hype that this one would have been put on the list, but it still has not. And that's used as a preservative. Silicone, which is what makes our products soft, feel soft, kind of run on smooth, and make your skin feel nice and smooth, and you think it's all great and everything, but yeah, it's also used as adhesives and sealants. Toluene, which is also used as a solvent in gasoline. And then we have phthalates, I believe is the proper pronunciation of it, and that's, I hate when I can't pronounce the word.
That is the problem.
Phthalates is how it's hard to pronounce. It's considered a plasticizer, which makes the product more fluid and spreadable. So it's used in nail polishes to stop your nail polish from chipping, and it's used as a solvent in fragrances to mystify them, make them more easily spread. And then it's also used in vinyl flooring bags and tubing. I thought that was pretty funny. So having gone through these the top ingredients, and these are the ones that are continually through all different studies to say that these are the top ones that everybody seems to be having issues with. I think it's because they're used quite often in a lot of products, and so that's why they are at the top of the list. But what I did find was this app here. It's called the Think Dirty app. You can look it up in your Play Store or however you do apps if you have the iPhone. It's quick, it's easy, it's amazing. I think they have over 800,000 products that are loaded into their database now. What you can do is you can either type in the product that you have or the product that you want to look up. The first 3 letters, it'll start searching through its database. So it's very quick and responsive to it. What it does is it'll pull up the product that you want, you select it, and it basically grades it. It gives it a 1 through 10. And off the top of my head, I can't remember, I think, or actually it's 0 through 10. 0 means it's absolutely wonderful, spread it all over your body, probably even eat it. And 10 means absolutely not, it's in the red zone and it has all this crazy stuff in it. But it doesn't stop there. It actually goes through and breaks down everything for you. You can actually click on it and it'll tell you what ingredients that they don't agree with and why, and you can click on that again and it will tell you all that's wrapped up in that specific ingredient, what it causes, what harm it is, what studies have been done. It's absolutely amazing. You can scan items it doesn't already have in its database. It asks you to do the front and back and send it to them so that they can actually start to do the research on it and put it into their database. And you can also grade your own shelf. So if you go to your medicine cabinet or your morning ritual that you do and you scan the items in there, you can add that and then it'll grade your entire shelf for you. Okay, so to make it quick and easy. So I got tired of looking at labels and trying to figure out what this was and what that was, and what I found were that there were 4 things that were common denominators in all of the items that I was picking up, and these were those. So this is what I do. I actually make probably 95% of my own products now myself, and so I don't check labels very often, but there is sometimes I'm walking through Meijer and I'll see something new and I pick it up to check it out and see, because I am always looking for something new on the shelf to be able to tell people, yeah, check this out, and then let me know. Fragrance, perfume, water, aqua, and then alcohol. So if you see fragrance and you think, okay, fragrance can't be that bad, it smells awesome, whatever. Well, fragrance is just an umbrella term. There can actually be up to, or actually more than 200 ingredients that are attached to fragrance, which aren't regulated, don't have to be told to you. We have no idea what's in it. I don't even know if you call the company or ask them what is in it, if they would even know, but definitely probably wouldn't give you that information. Perfume is another one, and basically that's just another term for fragrance. I think they put perfume in there to try to make it fancy, or maybe just I don't know, maybe we wouldn't catch it or something, but fragrance and perfume, definitely. If I see those 2 on there and it's not telling me why or what is in it, what's making it fragrant, I definitely put it back. Water would seem as though it were okay, but I have a couple of issues with water. First of all, we all know that the first ingredient on the list is what is the highest content of the item that you're purchasing. And it dwindles down as each one goes through. So if you're purchasing an item and the first ingredient is water, that means that it is the largest content of that product, which is okay, but then you have to go through, because if there's water in it, then there has to be a preservative. So what preservative are they using? Chances are that preservative that they're using is toxic. It keeps it on the shelf longer. So that's the reason why, and I know it's going to be extremely difficult for you to go and buy something off the shelf. Almost all of them are going to have water. But just read down there. I think citric acid, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on that one, is okay. But again, if they're using that much water, how much citric acid are they using? Is that really even... It just seems counteractive for your skin, especially if you already have dry skin. And then alcohol. Alcohol amazes me. Why does my lotion have alcohol in it? I don't understand why I would want a drying agent in something I'm putting on my skin to try to moisturize it. So that's the 4 that I look for. We're going to go through a couple of slides here. Yay, it shows up face. Love you, Brooke. Okay, so this was, I will lie, this was my all-time favorite hand lotion. I loved this stuff. It made my purse smell amazing. I loved it. But again, I thought, man, I don't know. I can't even pronounce any of these items. I'm just going to go ahead and stand up. So, okay, I said water. Water. I said alcohol. Alcohol. But also, you can see the polymer. There's the fragrance and the perfume. So already, within this first part here, I'm already putting it back. There's no reason to even purchase it. But as you can see, even the ones, there's another alcohol, there's a glycerin. Once you get down here, there's finally shea butter. It was a shea line of products. So once I get down here, I want to say it was the 11th, maybe 14th. I had that written down at one time. There. If we keep going, then okay, we see aloe, that's in there. But then we'll also see acetate. We'll see aluminum. We'll see acrylic, another polymer, more aluminum, and there's the big one right there, paraben. Paraben. Now another thing that I'd like to point out is dyes. We have everything just constantly filled with dyes. This lotion was cream colored. So why do I need color in it? So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dyes that are in this product. And it was a little 1 ounce container of this feature. And that's already. So I have another one here. This one is a super popular one. I left the names off of it. I didn't want to, if you want to ask me later, I'll tell you. But so we'll come over here again. Actually, this one, if I were going to buy something off the shelf, it actually seems like it's not that bad, but I still wouldn't. Again, here you see the water, but if you go on here, you see the citric acid. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But then you get through and you have an alcohol. The alcohol is the second ingredient. So again, if I'm purchasing a lotion, why do I want something that's mostly water and alcohol? It makes no sense to me. Then we have, there was another one. There's the aloe, but then there's some acetate.
There's the fragrance.
Did I miss that one?
Yeah, it's on the.
Now I'm too
It's on the right
Fragrance.
side.
There we go, right here, fragrance. And then, excuse me. So these have the slash and the perfume, which like I told you, sometimes they'll say one or the other, sometimes both, and sometimes you'll see them in different spots. So it's almost they put one as fragrance, and then for some reason they classify another as perfume. But again, right off the top of it, off the bat, I just say forget it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. All right, so my suggestion is that if you see any of those, again, I'll go backwards. If you see these 4, the first ingredients, the first 2, I usually say within the first half. If I read these within the first half of the ingredient list, I just put it back on the shelf and I'm not going to suggest it to anybody. The reason we have issues with these right here, oh wait, I'm sorry, let me backtrack. Okay, I thought this was important. So just pretend you don't know what this bottle is. Okay, this bottle right here, the 8th ingredient of 27 is actually a good ingredient. So this bottle right here, and this is just the lines that you can see are roughly the amount of ingredients in it. I think it's a little bit less. So you have all these ingredients, and that little portion right there is what you're paying for. Everything else in this bottle was toxic. Or was just working against your purpose of cleaning your hands and having them be smooth and not drying out. I thought that was important to show there. Another thing that I like to point out too is here we have, this is an all-natural and organic product right there. So the number of ingredients is the blue. The number of non-toxic ingredients is the teal. And then the cost per ounce is going to be the tan. So if you see right here, cost per ounce is the tan for the all-natural and organic ingredient, as opposed to the 2 lotions and the hand soap I did, you can see they're relatively the same. And I did that because I wanted to point out the fact that a lot of times I get not necessarily the complaint, but asking why is the all-natural organic ingredient more expensive than the other? Well, it's because it's more of the real ingredients that you have in there. But once broken down, If I give you an 8-ounce container that has all 5 ingredients are non-toxic, wild-crafted, and organic, you can see right here, this is what we want, is we want the number of ingredients, the number of non-toxic, and our price to be about the same. Whereas you can see here, that's how many ingredients were in it, but that right there is the only number of them that were non-toxic. So you're paying this about the same amount, actually a little bit more than for that lotion, but you're paying all for those ingredients from here to here that are either not considered, they're actually toxic, or they're just working against you. Did I explain that well enough? All right. Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to add to that because I've been learning, and sometimes you want to save your money to buy the really good stuff because it's going to really work.
Right.
And you don't need as much, so you can get by with it. Getting you over the month.
Right. Exactly. That's a great point.
But it's worth its weight in gold if it really works.
It sure is. And that is another thing too. And I tell people when they start with a lotion that I've made, I said, you don't need a lot. You'll probably use too much the first couple of times that you use it. And I say, start off with a tablespoon amount, and they just look at me all crazy. I said, no, really, a tablespoon for my entire body is all that I need. And to be honest, some days I skip because my skin doesn't need it. So I just let my skin go, let it breathe, do its own thing. And then therefore that also extends the length and the amount of product that I have for a longer period of time. And it is a learning process. It does take a little bit of time to get used to it, but it's all good stuff. So just the same way you said, you don't need to use as much of it.
I did want to add to that, that I'm finding out that a lot of problems, they make you think that you need tons because they don't want to tell you that you also need something that you should be taking internally.
True.
So a lot of times your skin will reflect what's going on inside. And so if you learn more about your own chemistry and your strengths and weaknesses and what will benefit you to maybe overcome some skin issue, you're in the long run, you're going to benefit fully, your whole body, your whole mind and body, and you'll be spending less on your health, because you're getting actually healthier, you're getting to the core of the problem.
Absolutely.
And then you'll need the lotions or whatever, cosmetics, less and less, because you're benefiting from understanding what you should be putting inside to influence the outer problems that you may be having.
Absolutely. Yes, that's absolutely correct. And there are times too that I tell people, okay, I can help you a little bit with the external part of it, but what's your diet? And they never want to tell me what their diet is. And I say, well, if you don't want to change your diet even just a little bit or work to make it better in baby steps, that's what I tell people, baby steps, then the problem is still going to be there. I can make it feel better for you, but I'm never going to be able to make it go away because it is a cycle. It's something you have to do it internally and also externally. Sorry, you lost my spot there. Did the ingredients comparison chart. Okay, endocrine system. We hear a lot about the endocrine system because the toxins that we're putting on our body, they build up. And what I explain to people sometimes is, okay, our body's smart, and our body says, okay, I don't know what this is, I don't like it, I'm going to just let it go. That happens sometimes. But other times, your body says, what is this? I don't know what it is. I'm just going to put it someplace and let it chill out and see if I can use it later. Well, it constantly does that. And so when it constantly does that, it can place it in these areas here. Your endocrine system regulates your metabolism, it produces hormones, regulates tissue function, controls mood, and the list does go on and on. And as you can see here, how many areas the endocrine system entails and why and how that would affect so many different areas. So I wanted to put it into a little bit of perspective. If we take an item off the shelf that has toxic ingredients on it. Let's just say lotion. We take our lotion and we slather it all over our body. It gets absorbed into our bloodstream. It takes 1 minute, approximately 1 minute, for your body to completely circulate its blood. So when you put that on your body, it absorbs into your bloodstream. Your bloodstream carries all of those toxins completely through your body in less than 1 minute, or give or take, depending on how active you are, how big you are, that type of thing. So literally, it took seconds for all of those toxins to go through your entire body. And I know it seems a little bit overwhelming, and it's kind of hard to say, well, how do I do this? How do I switch from having toxic products to non-toxic products? I mean, I'm thinking in my head of all the stuff that's on my shelf right now. Now I'm gonna go run home and I'm gonna look at all my labels and I'm gonna freak out. Don't freak out, it's okay. It actually took me about 2 years to transition everything. So like I said, baby steps, little by little. When I ran out of shampoo, I tried my own shampoo. It failed miserably, so I went out and bought some Burt's Bees until I figured it out what I wanted to do. Bar soap. I don't use bar soap, I was using the liquid soap. So when I ran out of that, I just made my own. Now what I will tell you is that natural products work differently. So be prepared to have those differences. The number one thing that works differently when you're using shampoos, liquid soaps, even bar soaps times, they don't foam up the way that we're accustomed to seeing them. Why? Because foaming agents are added to all of our shampoos and our soaps and everything of that nature. So the foamy part that we loved as a kid in the bathtub, we grow and kind of still want that, but it's not natural for the product to do that. Now, I use Castile soap a lot. It does set a little bit. If I want a little bit of the foamy part, you can use it in a foam pump, and that seems to work if you're having trouble getting over that hump of the transition from super foamy to non. It was weird. Honestly, strangely enough, it was one of the hardest things for me to overcome. Was my shampoo wasn't sudsing in my hair. It's not clean. It's not clean. What am I doing? But after you use it and you get used to it, it does work. I promise. So one bite at a time, just a little bit at a time helps. And I ran across a study. It's called the Hermosa study. And I'm going to share this with you because my little bit of a time, I transitioned over a 2-year period, and this just shows you the emphasis on it. There was a decrease in toxin levels of 25 to 44% in this study. Now, these girls, what they did is they took a study of a bunch of teenage girls, and they took all of their products that they had, all of their makeup, all of their shampoos, they took everything that they had, and they replaced them all with non-toxic items. In 3 days. 3 days, they had, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. They replaced their bar soap, perfume, solid deodorant, toothpaste, lotion, everyday makeup, all of it, foundation, mascara, balms, all of that. So that was what it was. Within 3 days, 25 to 44% less toxins in their body. I believe they did a urine sample. So they did a sample of the girls the first day, took all the products out, 3 days later, did nothing. So I thought that was pretty amazing. So if you, over the course of you running out of your products, and some of them run out more than others, you're replacing them with those natural, toxin-free, you'll get there eventually. I just thought that was some pretty important information. Alrighty. So before going DIY, I searched and I searched for truly green products, and I was having issues finding. Sometimes I would find products that were natural and organic, and legitimately they were of good companies that do the research. But sometimes what you find is that they have a list of items this big in it, and I didn't like that either. I wondered, why is all of that there? What's going on? I don't understand. So what I did is I decided to DIY my own and see how minimal I could make it. How can I make these products with the minimal amount of ingredients as possible? And that's where Naturally Simplified was born. It was because I wanted to create non-toxic items for people that they could trust. I wanted to be able to give you all the information that you needed, and I wanted you to be able to read the ingredient label quickly, easily, and know exactly what was in it. So that's where it came up. There's no secrets. I'm transparent. I will give you my recipe for the items that I have, because I feel as though if you're a DIYer and you love the product, I don't see any reason why I need to keep that to myself. So you're more than welcome. Actually, the pamphlet has the sugar scrub. That is my sugar scrub recipe. So I just created Naturally Simplified, not only to have products available for people, but to also help DIYers, for all of us to basically kind of build a community on being able to share and have those available. That's all I have. I hope you